In this video, we will see how to create a Webi document based on BEX queries created in Query Designer. BEX queries in a Webi document is connected via BICS connection or BI consumer service. When BEX queries are used in Webi document and you view it via using web interface client of Web Intelligence, then you cannot edit the document. You can only view or refresh the document based on BEX queries using web interface. Also note that you can only use BEX queries which are flagged with allow external access to the query. Let us go to SAP BO system and see how to build queries using BEX.
Let's see how we can create the Webi report using the BEX query. So first of all, we need to enable the BEX query to have it available for the external access in the query designer. After that, we need to have the BEX query connection available in the CMC. So once we have these two options already available to us, then only we will be able to use any BEX query as a data source to the Webi report. So first of all, let's see what options we have to select in the BEX query to have it available in the Webi report. So let's log in to the BEX query designer. So this is my BEX query designer. Here I have to log in to my BW system. So once we will enter to this system, after that we have to open the BEX query which we want to be available in the Webi report. So we will go to the open, and if we go to the info areas here, so we will be able to see all the info areas and all the cubes info providers inside these info areas and the queries based on that. If we want to use the history, we can go directly to the history. We can select the query which we want to run and we can click on open. So once we will open this, and if we go to this extended properties, under the extended properties we have this option of allow external access to this query. So until unless we have this option enabled in the query, we won't be able to use this query into the Webi report. So once we have this option enabled in the query, we have to save this into the SAP BW system, and after that we have to log into the BI Launchpad. So now if I go to the BI Launchpad here, and if I click on this new Webi report, here we have to select the BEX query as a data source. So once we will click on the BEX query as a data source, we will click on OK. So how this BEX query is connecting to the Webi report is, it is using the BEX connectivity. So we have to create this BEX connection in SAP BO repository first, and after that we will be able to connect. So this connection we can see here. This is my OLAP connection which is already created into my BO repository for my SAP BW system where my BEX query resides. So once we will have this connection, after that we will be able to use the objects from my BEX query like hierarchies, characteristics, attributes, key figures. So all these options which are available in the BEX query, they will be available into my Webi report. So now what we will do here is we can extend this one. After that we will go to the info area. Inside the info area, we will be able to see all the different folders, and if we go inside that, we will be able to see the cubes. We can see that this is my info provider and these are the queries. So why we are not able to select this query here, why I'm not able to click this OK is because these queries, they are not available for my Webi report access, because we don't have that allow external access enabled for these BEX queries. So that's why it's very important that we should have that allow external access for the any BEX query which we want to use in the Webi report. Otherwise, we won't be able to use that in the Webi report. So now let's go to this one. So we can see here that this query is enabled for use. So we will select this query, we'll click on OK. Once we will click on OK, we will be able to see all the objects from my BEX query into my query panel, and I can select any of them. So these blue one, they are my dimensions. These one are my key figures. If I expand the dimensions, I can see the different sub objects. So this one is my hierarchy. These are the attributes of my these dimensions. So if I can directly use the hierarchy in my Webby report, I can use this dimension, I can use the attributes of it. So whatever is available to my BEX query, I can use it into my Webby report. So how I can select the objects is I can just double click the objects. After that, I can move it to the result objects area. And once I will click on this run query, I will be able to see the data if it's available. Here, this is the query prompt window. So these prompts, they are already created into my BEX query. So all the variables which are created into my BEX query, they will be prompted in the Webby report as well. So if we are using the BEX query, we can create the prompts at two levels, either at the BEX level or at the Webby report level. So if I create the prompts at the BEX level, they will be automatically prompted into the Webby report during the execution. But if we don't have the variables already created, so we can also create them at the report level. Here we can select the values and we can click on OK. Once we'll click on OK, if the data is available, you will be able to see that in the report. After that, you can save the report and you can access it later on in the BO repository. So this is how we can create a Webby report based on the BEX query. So first of all, we have to allow the external access from the BEX query properties. Then we should have the connection in the CMC, and then we can use that BEX query from the Webby report. Thank you.